All right, what's going on, guys? I got my boy Terrance here. Say what's up, Terrance.
What's up?
All right, why don't you just say where you're from and how old you are, because that's important for the listeners, because this is a very intentional podcast. So yeah, just talk about yourself and where you're from and where you grew up and all that stuff.
My name is Terrance. I'm from Long Beach. I'm 23 years old.
23, y'all. We got a young gun in the house today.
Yeah, I'm 23. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings, 6 to be.
6 to be, huh?
Yeah.
Dang, okay, I didn't know that.
My dad's having another one. So.
All right.
But yeah, I'm the oldest. Grew up in Long Beach. Pretty much lived there all my life. Yeah, I mean, I'm Cambodian. That makes any difference.
Makes a lot of difference. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, my family, we didn't really come from much. But, you know, we make it happen. We struggled a lot, but throughout my childhood. But
where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school. First, I went to high school in Cerritos, and then moved back to Long Beach, and I went to Wilson, graduated from Wilson.
So any Wilson grads out there representing Wilson, what are you class of?
15.
Class of 15.
Yeah.
And did you play any sports?
Yep, I played football.
What positions did you play?
Running back, safety, wide receiver.
You any good?
I was pretty good.
All right. And then I think you said you went to college for a little bit?
Yeah, I went to college. I went to Cal State Long Beach for a couple of years as well.
Okay, cool. And what you doing now?
Now I'm working at Honda World Westminster.
That's cool. He's working in the city that we're planning in. Yeah. And right in front of the church that we going to be at starting June 6th. That's exciting. I met Terrance. I met you. First, our brother Mike. If you guys haven't seen Mike's podcast, this is Mike's cousin, for those that you're watching on YouTube. And so I met you through a conversation with Mike, and Mike was telling me, "Hey, Pastor Paul, I got a cousin that he wants to get baptized, and so I'm about to baptize this fool real quick." And I'm like, "Hold up, bro, hold up!" Before we get all excited about baptism, I was like, "Well, let me talk to him real quick. Let me see if he knows what he's getting into." And then I remember asking you, "Do you know why you're getting baptized?" He's like, "Nah, not really. I just, Mike's doing this, I might as well just do it too." And I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna walk a little bit." And so that's where our journey began. And so, so let's start there. Why did you want to get baptized, I guess?
So yeah, like you mentioned, Mike, just being around him during quarantine and being just kind of lost as well.
What you mean by that?
Just like I felt spiritually, I was really lost. I didn't have a connection with God or anything. And I've always wanted to have some type of connection or have something to be faithful in.
Did your parents go to church or?
No, our family's Buddhist, so, they're not really honest with God or anything like that. It's just Buddhist, the type of lifestyle we live. With Buddhism, I only see the Buddhist lifestyle when there's like a funeral and I see monks. And that was the only religion I was really exposed to growing up. But yeah, during quarantine, just seeing Mike and whoever knows his story and where he come from, he comes through a lot of hardship, and seeing him grow as a person. It was just really impactful because I look up to Mike as, someone that's very inspirational, seeing from what he's come from and what he's grown into. And then him exposing me to scripture and the Bible and reading me verses through the Bible and just like teaching me things that I was never exposed to. And his commitment was really, really strong. His faith was really, really strong. And just seeing him every single day, wake up at 6 a.m. praying, go to sleep at 9 praying, and he'll just walk around. I just see him wake up and walk around the living room just in circles, and I would just observe him. And he's just walking around in circles. I'm like, what is he doing?
He ain't crazy. You think he was crazy?
He's a little crazy, man. What is he doing? He's like, I'm talking to God, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking. Yeah.
So that's what started. And then all of a sudden, he'd always come to me and be like, "Hey, go to church. Come to church one time." And so I went to Free Life Church, or not, Light and Life Church. Yeah. And he was really happy to see me. I seen him. He was handing out pamphlets or something outside, and you could just see the happiness that it filled that void in his life where like he just nothing else mattered to him other than like seeing other people smile and seeing, he was like, yeah, I'm a greeter, man, come through.
Mike's a greeter. That's a scary word. No, if we all know Mike's a greeter, y'all. Okay.
Yeah, and then he introduced, he was letting me know, like you said, like he was like, oh, I'm getting baptized, man. You should get baptized with me. I was like, all right, man, that sounds cool. And then he let me know that you're gonna give me a call, and then that's when we had that conversation.
Yeah. And so that was an awesome introduction. We met, and we're just asking some questions, and so I think for me, what was important, especially for a young person like you, is because I know what it is to be young and just following people that's inspirational. But what I realized was it's that relationship with Jesus that you have personally that's going to make that transformation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I thought that was important for you to at least know that. And so in order to know that, I just wanted to drop a little information on Jesus. And so that's where our path began. And so how did you think about that? And we were doing like discipleship in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
We were on Zoom, we were on phone call. And so, and on a side note, any pastor out there that think that they can't disciple during a lockdown, I'm going to teach you guys how to do it, because you can do it, because it's been done. So going through that, what was your process of, what did you think about me and what we're trying to do and stuff like that?
So like, I really appreciated you reaching out and like going more into depth about faith and stuff, because I felt like I was just taking a leap of faith and just jumping in and like, hey, yeah, let me get baptized and change my life. But I didn't really know anything about Jesus, anything about the story, anything about like the fundamentals or anything like that. So going through the process, meeting you on Zoom every single week, and then having a lesson, going through different verses of the Bible and having to reflect on it with questions. It helped a lot. Like it helped me learn a lot more, and it just kept me intrigued of just continuing to learn and stuff.
If there was one thing, and you can remember, maybe not remember, maybe one session or one thing that you read or you felt or you wondered about the process, what would that be where it's like, this is something different? You know what I mean? I don't know if you can recall that, but maybe there's something that we talked about or you read in the Bible that you're like, this is something different. Maybe this is where I should be going.
I think when we had the lessons about like sins and like
Wow.
and how like Jesus accepts you for whatever you go through in life. That's what really hit home for me, just because I never felt that I was the perfect person. I never felt that, there's a lot of mistakes that I made in my life. So sometimes with me, or as young people in general, like we always think that, it's too late for us, even though we're so young.
Wow.
We feel like we've messed up a lot. We feel like we made too many mistakes, especially if you're the type of person to have that negative relationship with your parents. So you kind of feel that neglection from, it's something that's growing pains in all of us that are young. But if you do experience that with your father, your mother, sometimes you feel like you're not worth Jesus' love for you. And just understanding that no matter how many times you mess up, God's always going to be there for you. Yeah. And I read, like, you also taught me that too, that there's your earth father, your earth mother, but there's always your spiritual, your God, your father, your main father.
That's good.
So with your earth fathers, I was reading sometimes when you mess up, there's different ways that your earth father treats you, or like he approaches that situation. Whereas God, no matter what you do, as long as you confess your sins and you have the right path, you're gonna be good.
24, y'all. 24, dropping bars. He's a preacher, I'm telling you. And so it's a little bit, can be more challenging as an Asian person too, right? Yeah. Because our culture is so strict, and we have a tradition of just, we gotta listen, no questioning. And so when you were able to experience these things, what have you thought about your own identity?
Like experiencing
Jesus, experiencing this process, coming to know Christ. What have you thought about, like, your identity? Has it changed, or?
Oh yeah, like, because my perception was I would do everything to make my parents happy. Always, everything strived on like family, because a big thing in Asian culture too is taking care of your family.
That's right.
Being the right role model for your family, and when you fail to do that, or when you think that you're failing to do that, then it leads you to different paths and to start having such a negative connotation of yourself.
Wow.
So you can't, sometimes like you're just laying in bed like, damn, I'm a failure. Like, what am I doing? Especially with me, since I did go to Cal State Long Beach, I ended up dropping out because
dropped out of college as an Asian.
Right.
That's a no.
And just being able to rebound from that, like I always know that, and like taking the path and like going through the path with you, it just gave me that sense of relief that no matter what I do in life, as long as I continue to have faith and continue to devote myself to changing people's lives in the better way of exposing them to what I've learned, then that's all God really asks from us, is just to continue to share his word and share the love and all positivity.
That's really good, Terrance. I think what I've noticed about you the most during this process is like how real you got. Like you didn't try to fake it. You didn't try to stay silent. You just expressed yourself, who you are, because that's important, especially in this generation of young people, you know, where, I mean, all the voices come from social media, you know what I mean? And so what have you felt? I know you talked about this, and I don't want you blasting no people out, your homies or anything like that. But during this process, I know you talked about like, I'm having different thoughts about the people I'm rolling with. You know, what kind of changes have you seen in the perception of friendship, connection during this time?
So with friendship and like social media and everything, all of us younger people, you know, they're exposed to Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and all this stuff. So there's like a certain type of image that you try to uphold, but like in front of your friends or like around your friends. You want to be like your friend. You want to be cool like your friend. You want to do everything that, you know, that your friends do just because you think it's right. Well, sometimes not right, but you're in that I don't know how to say it, but you're pretty much around them so much that you want to be like them. But taking this path and like with quarantine and that opening up my eyes, I just seen that there's a lot of different mindsets that we're exposed to, and there's sometimes that there's things that you thought used to be right, but it isn't really right at all.
Wow.
Like your perception on like just life in general. Like there's certain things that I had conversations with some of my friends, and I just realized that our viewpoints are just so much different, and it's okay to be different, but you know, it started to make me second guess, like, who am I actually hanging out with? Just on the values of just God and like Christianity itself. Like I already saw the divide right, like a couple weeks into just hanging out with my friends. I'm like, dang, this is a culture shock to me. Like, cause I'm just realizing how much people are so caught up on being cool and like just for the camera, Instagram, stuff like that.
That's great.
In reality, like, that's not right at all. Like, all you're doing is for a couple of retweets or a couple likes and stuff like that. And that's what our world's leading to. Like there's people just trying to make a name for themselves by doing the dumbest things in the world. But it's all good.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. And you saying this opened my eyes too on how the church should be serving the younger generation. I mean, we had that young adult kickback thing that we did that you were a part of. And what really crushed my heart was the conversations I had with some people that told me, like, I can't believe that we can just hang out at church, because I was never able to do that. Man. I can't believe that we can just talk and just be real.
Yeah.
I grew up in a little bit healthier situation, so I was fortunate enough to be in those types of, and the people that I disciple throughout the way, they were fortunate enough to kind of get a sense of what freedom looks like. But the people that were maybe in a more negative relationship with the church, I was like, this needs to change. And how does the church do that? And I think my greatest time with you is just learning about that. What can the church do?
Right.
And so, I mean, you've never like been to church in a consistent way, but now you're part of this church plant. And, you know, I'm hoping that you start up some ministry, some college stuff. What do you think that young people or maybe young adults need the most when it comes to being part of a community? Or what can the church offer it?
I think with the adult kickback and stuff, like the whole environment was just amazing.
Environment's important.
Yeah, just like being filled that you're welcome. Because there's old school, like my girlfriend, she thinks that Christianity, or she thought like Christianity was just like old school, old pastor, and like very traditional, very strict. When in reality, she came out here and she saw how heartfelt, like how welcoming it was here, like just to feel that you're welcome somewhere. And that's, I mean, besides like materialistic things, like food, like maybe food will get people out here because everyone loves to eat. So if I tell my friends, "Oh, we got some food," they wouldn't even question what the second part is. What this is. But other than that, like as like just like having that welcoming environment for sure, because that's what helped last time.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. And just knowing that as we plant this church, we're trying to do everything a little bit different. You know, how do we reach the young adults? How do we reach urban young adults? How do we reach children? And definitely you are part of shaping that type of culture. And that's what we want to do here at Free Life. I remember going and even your baptism was crazy. I remember going to your baptism. I mean, I wasn't that shocked, but the people that we were coming, and Mike's like, "Pastor Paul, you sure we want to baptize him at his house?" I was like, "Why? His homie's going to be there." And I was like, "Bro, I know it, man. I know that space, especially a photographer." He's like, "What is this smell?" And I was like, "You know what that smell is?" He's like, "Okay." But it was cool because it was cool just to see your friend. And as soon as you got in that water, all the eyes turned to you and they dropped whatever they were doing. And I was like, wow. And they were kind of like, what's going on? Because we baptized you in that pool with that freezing water. What did you feel at that time in front of your family and friends?
Like I can't even explain what I was feeling. Like it was just so many emotions just in one feeling. Like it just felt so much love, so much like refreshment. It just felt like it was just unexplainable. I mean, just being there with like my entire family, even my girlfriend's family was there. Like everyone that I really cared about was there. And like, well, the people that I was like really, really close to, obviously with COVID right now, it's tough to have everyone out there, but like seeing my mom, my dad together, like I haven't seen them together in years.
Wow.
Yeah. So they haven't been in the same like vicinity.
Wow. But
years.
they came to see you get baptized.
They came to see me.
And they don't even believe.
Right.
Well, they're not believers, right?
Yep.
That's crazy. Did anybody say anything to you after or?
Oh yeah. My girlfriend's son was like, "Did you see Jesus?" And I was like, "No, that's not how it works." And he's like, "Then why'd you do it?"
Hey, but he's curious about what's going on.
He's only 9, so.
I think you have a huge influence on this generation, especially what I saw, the people around you. And that's why we're trying to continue this journey of not just believing, but acting on your belief, right? And, there are times when we slip, and there are times when we go back. And you've called me and says, "Hey, Pastor Paul, like, these few weeks, man, it ain't going right." What have you learned in those times in Christianity? Because a lot of people, especially your age, a lot of ages, they get baptized, they get that high. We call that spiritual high. Yeah. And they're like, "What happened? This is it." And so what have you? Because I know I said this to you as well. Yeah. Like this is going to be a journey. Yeah. So what have you felt in those times where you felt like, "Oh man, I'm kind of slipping"?
Just like confusion, just because I'm like already committing myself to like a certain lifestyle, and then when I have moments where I feel like I'm backtracking, it's kind of discouraging for me, especially like, well, I'm lucky enough for you to always continue to hit me up every single week to check up on me. So like, I'm blessed. Yeah. It's not. It's not annoying. I thought you were gonna say something else. But no, it's like, it's always refreshing because every week, regardless of like if we met up or if we talked or anything like that, I know for a fact that you're gonna hit me up because we have a mission to do. We have goals to reach, and feeling a part of that, it helps me continue to just continue on this path and journey. But throughout those times where it's tough, it just feels like you're, like I said, you're taking steps back. So it's discouraging to all the I don't know, like the steps that you've already been building up to it. It's just taking like, you're taking 5 steps forward, take 10 steps back. Right. So that's why it feels discouraging to hit you up sometimes, because it's just like, dang, I messed up, or dang, I'm going through this and I feel alone, and then I forget about, and it just makes you think that, oh, your faith isn't strong enough yet. So sometimes you don't think of how to strengthen it. Another time you just think to just, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, and I think it's super important, especially a young person that's still going through it, because everything that you're doing right now, it's like the first time you're messing up this way.
Yeah.
The first steps you're taking with this relationship, where somebody that's like 50, 60 years old, they've been through all that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the mistakes that they make, they can majority of the times rebound a little bit faster because they know what it was like.
Yeah.
But for a young person, everything is new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like first time you pay your bills, first time the collection people come and call you, you're like, who's calling me?
Yeah.
And then I think this is where the church needs to be a little bit stronger and healthier in saying we're here. And like you said, me hitting you up and you learning from that. And so when you have younger people coming under you, now you know their struggles and you got to hit them up. Even though their struggles might not be that crazy. Because I guarantee you, Terrance, like 10 years later, you're going to look back and you're like, why was I tripping about an Instagram post? You know what I mean? When you got like kids now running around and acting a fool and stuff like that. And so I think what needs to happen in the church, especially for young adults to follow in a healthier way, is displaying faith.
Yeah.
And that's what we here at Free Life want to do. And so, you journeying with us, it's crucial that we build young leaders right away. And so I don't know, what are some of your hopes and dreams of what you want to do for the kingdom? What would you like to see done? What are some of your passions these days?
Like I always say, I'm a family person. I'm the oldest brother, so I've always had to be that role model for my younger brothers. And sometimes, like not succeeding in school made me seem like, oh, maybe I'm a bad example, or maybe I'm not as good as a role model as I may seem like. So this is my opportunity to show that I don't care what I do in life, I'm gonna make a positive impact on other people's lives. So if I could touch as many lives as I possibly can, start off with youth and like just continuing with our younger generations. Yeah. That's my main goal. Just because I could see how lost all of us are getting to technology. Like these kids cannot put the phone down or the iPad down or YouTube down. So that is just a block from kids learning about their spiritual side and about God, because they're so caught up on Baby Shark and like all these little kid things they don't even know. Like with Easter, I asked my girlfriend, so like, oh, what's Easter about? He said, well, besides the Easter bunny, what's Easter about? And surprisingly, he knew. He's like, Jesus? Yeah. I was like, okay, at least you know something. Other kids like, yeah, the bunny, the eggs and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's my main goal, just to impact as many lives as I can, mainly the younger generation of lives, because I was blessed enough to open my eyes up at some sort of a young age, 23.
You're right.
But help other even like establish at a younger age. So
y'all heard it. I mean, this is not just a podcast, but this is recording history. Terrance said that he's going to serve the youth. All right. So next time we see him, he's not serving the youth. I have it on film. Terrance going to be a youth pastor for Free Life Community Church. You might not know it, but it's going to happen. And so I think what we just wanted to do with this podcast in the short time that we have is just kind of, get your story. Because a lot of young people, some of them have grown up in church and they're like, I'm done with it. Yeah. Some of them never have grown up in church and they're like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. But I think sharing your story it can be a healthier way of seeing a different side of what the church can do and what Jesus can do in somebody's life. And so for the last thing, what's one thing that you want to say to all the young people out there, maybe your age or younger, and how, maybe Jesus is a way to go.
Just for anyone out there just thinking that they're alone, or like if they don't feel welcome with their friends, or like if they're just thinking different, it's okay to be different. Just that having that mindset of doing the right thing and just keeping a positive mindset and attitude towards everything you do, you're going to do good in life. And just make sure that you make room to find out about your spiritual side, about God, about Jesus, because it's really important to have that clarity in life and just knowing that, regardless of what you do, it's going to be okay. Yeah. It's only going to be okay as long as you continue to have faith and just believe that, you're doing the right things. If you have the intentions of doing good, then everything will fall into place. So just like I said, if you feel like you're different from your friends, it's okay. Don't let people's perception of you change your own perception of who you are.
That's crazy. That's good news right there. I couldn't have said it better. So thanks for just kicking it with us.
Yeah.
And you can see Terrance at Free Life Community Church walking around. He's probably going to hit you up if you're younger and say, hey, what y'all doing on this night? Let's get together, eat some food, talk about Jesus, and just show love to one another, right?
Yep.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks again for joining us here at Planning Free Life. And we'll just talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.